with us this evening, having to do with NetQube and Digi Millionaire marketing. How about that? So, Doc is in your hands.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Queen. I do appreciate that. Boy, I am so dependent on you because when you got here just a little bit late, just threw me way off. Queen, thank you so much for everything that you do for me and everything that you do for our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where we'd be without Queen. So thank you so much. And thank all of you. I am so, what's the word I want to say? I'm so honored. I'm so honored and grateful for such an amazing following. Some of you have been with us. Lady Di has been with us since 2002, 2003, well over 15 years. Some other folks have been with us, maybe not necessarily in our organization, but a part of our following for well over a decade or a decade and a half or what have you. And others of you have been following us maybe for a few years, 3, 4, 5 years, 3, 4, 5 months, 3, 4, 5 minutes. We are just so appreciative of our audience. But let me tell you this. I believe that we finally have this thing dialed in. We started about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, starting to do some webinars regarding the Digi space. And we started sharing, hey, guys and guyettes, we got to start paying attention to this entire Digi marketplace. Now, we said then the best way for you and I to become Digi millionaires was to develop our own Digi portfolio that we own and control. Got sidetracked with the lure of the lending platforms, the Big Connects of the world, the USI Techs of the world, the Gladio Coins of the world. And but I think we're going to look back at that, because my experience has been this, is that every time what appeared to be temporary failure popped up, that ultimately that temporary failure was actually success in temporary failure's clothing. Meaning this, that because of that situation with the lending platform demise, with the USI Tech platform demise, control finance, so on and so forth, it has gotten us really to where we're locked in to having action that goes towards our message, and not just the message. It's not just marketing. And so the best way, I don't care where you stand right now financially. Now, when I say I don't care, I don't mean that, if things are tough, that I don't care that things are tough. I don't mean that. What I'm saying is, regardless, maybe that's what I should say. That's a better word. Regardless of where you, stand right now financially, give me a moment. Give me just a moment, please. All right. Regardless of where you stand right now financially, if you will follow and follow intently, there's no reason why you should not become a Digi millionaire in the next 3 to 5 years. Let's chalk 2017 up as a lesson, a learning lesson. And it was a very expensive one for a number of us. Let's chalk that up as a learning lesson. And now let's forge ahead, because I am telling you, we are dialed in. And for those of you who will be on the lab tonight, you will see that we are dialed in. You will see that. Now, some of you maybe did not move some things over to the sidelines like we recommended, because that's a newer teaching. But now that we have, at least with one major asset that we're going to talk about in that lab, we've got a full sell buy signal period where we sold a particular asset to move over to the sidelines. That asset got absolutely pummeled. And now we got a buy signal on that asset on today. And you're going to see the impact of what that would mean. Even if you didn't take advantage of that, hopefully you've been paying attention to the videos that we've been sending out and to the labs we've been doing. Okay, so let's do this, because I know not everybody on this particular webinar is an active paid Digi subscriber, Digi Millionaire subscriber. Some of you were at one point, and you know, the market got really bad, and you know, we had the lending platform demise, and you know, what have you. Get dialed back in. Let's go to work here. Let's give you some market perspective. So first off, let's just give you the Digi Millionaire portfolio perspective. What we want to do, what we're going to do, for those of you who follow, we're going to do it anyway. All right, so you might as well follow. We're going to lead. I promise you, we will lead. All right, so you might as well follow. What we're going to do is we're going to help you build your own Digi portfolio that you alone own, that you alone control. No more sending our hard-earned assets to a third-party system, hoping, praying, fasting that third-party system will pay us. The only third-party system right now that I would remotely feel comfortable talking to anyone about, if they were not in the U.S., would be Big Club Network. That system has been rolling for 3.5 years. It'll be October-ish or so, September, October-ish of this year. It'll be 4 years. And they've had their hiccups here and there, but they've always communicated very well, although they don't do any conference call or webinars or what have you. But inside their system, they've communicated very well, even when they had challenges. But you know, that's the only system that I would remotely feel comfortable. My gosh, I'm looking at one asset. It's going crazy. It's going crazy today. The only system I would feel confident. Beyond that, and even with that, the best way, it's not close, is for you to develop your own Digi portfolio, okay? January 1 of 2017, December 31, 2017. All right, what I want us to understand, if we go back and look at last year, we will find that Bitcoin and most of the other altcoins had very little movement between January and sometime in March. We started to see altcoins have some traction towards the end, the middle to the end part of March. They exploded, and many of them exploded in April and May. And then from June until November, for the altcoins, they lost ground, many of them. Bitcoin picked up ground during that time. And then in December, the altcoins went to heaven. If you take a look at the 12 months of 2017, only about 4 of those months did the altcoins outperform Bitcoin. So out of 12 months, Bitcoin outperformed many of the altcoins 8 of the 12 months. However, those 4 months where the altcoins outpaced Bitcoin, they outpaced it by such a wide margin that Bitcoin ultimately recorded 1,268% gains from January 1 to December 31st. Now we know that she's come well off of her highs. Even before December 31st, she had come well off of her highs, having hit just about $20,000. But this is where what we're now starting to teach, how to get out of the eye of the hurricane, how to move Bitcoin and some other assets over to the sidelines when the market is giving us a definitive sell signal. And had you done that throughout our Digi Labs, we gave a signal on Ethereum on February 21st, get the heck out of Dodge. We gave another signal on February 22nd, get the heck out of Bitcoin, move it over to the sidelines. We've seen Bitcoin, at that point, Bitcoin was going for about 10,200. We've seen Bitcoin come down to about 6,400. This morning, I got up very early this morning, all right? Got up about 4:15 New York time, as I always do, as I get my day started after spending a little time in prayer and meditation and getting my day started. I took a look at the markets, and she had been sitting there like she's been sitting there for about 2 weeks. Now, let me show you something that we... Oh, wow. You go, girl. You go. You go, Biddy. Okay? So let me show you something here. We've been using Forex charts, and I've simplified this. I know it looks like a lot of lines, so it may not look simple, but I don't have a whole lot of other indicators here, because that would just confuse you even the more. You never have to learn this chart reading stuff, but this is something that we're doing along with other tools and resources that we don't show here that help us to determine if we believe that Bitcoin is more likely to go down for a spell or likely to go up for a spell. Now, be mindful that the Bitcoin and the entire Digi space moves lightning years faster than the stock market. I thought when I got into the Forex market in 2003 that the Forex was much faster than the stock market. Well, the Digi space is much faster than Forex and the stock market. What we haven't seen in a while is this point of consolidation. Let's blow this up a little bit. Okay, that's as big as I can make it, all right? This point here of consolidation, all right? Now, each of these candles, I'm giving you some market overview here. Each of these candles represents one trading day. Now, I could have it represent a 15-minute time horizon or an hour time horizon or a week's time horizon, but I look at it on a daily basis because the signals that we will use are going to be based on daily candles, okay? Now, what we've not seen a lot of is this period of consolidation where the markets did not have a tremendous amount of movement. Now, the market moves much bigger in Bitcoin than, let's say, the U.S. stock market. So let's give you an example. This day right here, all right, this day right here, the market was, had a low of 6,500, had a high of 7,300. That's an $800 move, an 800-point move on Bitcoin. But in Bitcoin, that's not really that big of a deal. If that was an 800-point move on the Dow, up or down, that would make, you know, international press. The next day, we had a low of 6,700, a high of 7,200. A 500-point move in Bitcoin in a day is a yawner. This day here, we had a 600-point move. All right, we did have a couple big candles here, and some of you may remember we shot a video that we posted, sent out to our audience. We posted it on YouTube, ranking for the NetQube keyword. And we said, oh, we may have some positive developments here because this right here had been an area of previous congestion. What does that mean? All right, we can go back in time and we can see where the market has been to this area before. I will refer to this again and again as deja vu. The markets, whether we're talking Bitcoin, whether we're talking futures, whether we're talking stock market, whether we're talking Forex market, markets love deja vu. They like to return to familiar stopping points, whether the market is going down or whether the markets are going up. Markets love to revisit places they've been before. So anytime you've had a situation where you're like, wait a minute, seems like I've done this before. Seems like I've been here before. Did I have a dream? Man, this a deja vu. All right, markets love that. So all of these lines you see here are points of congestion where markets have retreated down to or up to previously. And these areas become potential areas where the market may pause. On the downside, we call these areas support. On the upside, we call these areas resistance. So for instance, if we come all the way back in October of 2017, you will see that the market in this range here, let's say this was a box here, the market stayed here for a few days. It came down to this black line, it went up to this black line, it went up and came back down, all right? And then ultimately, when it broke this line here, it then went up and up and up and up and it went to heaven, okay? Now, I'm not suggesting that we're going to see that type of market reaction, but what's very interesting is what we see over the last 2 weeks is the same trading range that we saw here. Now, this was, it broke here one day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This was an 11-day period here. And what we're looking at right now, all right, coming underneath this level of support, which now becomes resistance, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This was today. And these candles reset, start a new trading day, I think at 5 p.m. New York time. So this is where we are right now, okay? So, deja vu. We plotted these lines that you see here based on this period of congestion back here. We plotted those lines a long time ago. And look at what the market has done. It came down, all right? This was a level of support from a previous level of congestion. The market broke that level, came down to a previous level, deja vu. This line that was broken, this what was a support level that was broken now became resistance. So, back on April the 3rd, I cut a video saying, hey, we don't have a buy signal yet, but we could maybe perhaps have some positive developments in the Digi space because Bitcoin has traded above and closed above what has been a level of resistance. Look at this level of resistance. When the market broke this, okay, you see this one right here? It kissed it. It said, and then it said, nah, I don't want to go out with you anymore. And it rejected right here at resistance. Then the market came down. It hit a support level. This line here was a level of support. This horizontal line here was a level of support. Then it decided to go back up. And we thought, uh-oh, we might have something. But what was our warning? Our warning was we need to see her stay above this line. And that represented about 7,200, 7,182. We rounded. And look at what happened the very next day. She rejected. All right. We thought we had a date right here, thought we had a really good first date. And then right here, she wouldn't return our phone calls. She wouldn't return our text messages. She said, no, not ready for a second date just yet. All right. Market comes down and look, she kissed this line. Deja vu. Ain't nobody in this Digi space talking about this kind of stuff. I've got one subscription that's $2,500 a year. I've got another subscription that's $2,000. I got another subscription that's $2,200. And none of those folks, these are the ones you see advertised on coinmarketcap.com. None of those folks talk about this kind of stuff. All they've been doing is saying, hey, buy some more. It's cheaper, buy some more. Well, that sounds good, but shoot, if you keep buying from 10,200, you bought some more at 9,000, and it goes down to 8, and you bought some more at 8,000, and it goes down, and it keeps going down, and keeps going down. What we're saying is, hey, if we believe the market's going down and we've got a sell signal, how about we just move over to the sidelines? Maybe not with all of our assets, but with a portion of it. And we can avert some of that pain and some of that queasiness that happens in the marketplace. Now, the other day, this happened. Look at this. Look at the importance of these lines. Look at this. Comes off support here. Goes up, gets close to resistance, starts to reject. Right here, the wick that you see, they call these candles. The wick represents, the height of the wick represents how high the market traded that day. The low of the wick represents how low the market traded that day. If you see on my chart, if you see a blue candle, that means the market went up that day. The market opened at the bottom of the body of the candle on a blue one, and the market closed at the top of the body of the candle. And the wicks represent the highs and the lows of that trading day. Conversely, don't worry about it. You don't have to learn all this stuff. But I want you to understand it as you undertake it. I want you when we start talking about, hey, we got a buy signal or we got a sell signal, I want you to know enough so you have confidence going into the market. Right now, I know if you didn't move over to the sidelines, that your confidence may be shaken because you bought Bitcoin when it was 14,000 and now it's at 7,800. That'll shake your confidence. Or you bought Ethereum when it was 1,000 and then you saw it come all the way down to under 400. That'll shake your confidence. So what I pray is happening is that by doing these not only trainings here and the labs and then the other updates that we do periodically, that you'll start to see, oh, forget freaking BitConnect. Forget freaking USI Tech, doggone scammers. Yeah, I maybe lost some money and it hurt, but I'm going to be a doggone Digi millionaire. My gosh. So now she kissed it and rejected it. Now, I actually did a video this day to say, hey, she kissed it and she rejected. And so we'll see if she'll come back down to support and bounce back up or if she'll break below. And I don't know what happened. I recorded it. I went through. I did all my editing and my system went crazy. And I thought I'd be able to retrieve it, but I was never able to retrieve it. So we never got a chance to send that out. So this morning, 4:15, 4:30, the market's still hanging out at 6,800 or so. And it's been in this range for 2 weeks, which for Bitcoin, that's a long time to be in such a tight range. Now, when we see this range, when we see something ranging like that, this is often referred to as a period of consolidation. And I want you to think of consolidation being like this, okay? You've got a can of soda, or my wife is from Buffalo, New York. They call it pop up there. When we got married in Charlotte, North Carolina, so for my folks there from Charlotte, I got married there in Charlotte. I got kicked out of school there in Charlotte, UNC Charlotte. We say soda in the South. She would say pop in the North. So we said, okay, well, let's do soda pop. That way both of us are pleased. So you've got a can of Pepsi, you've got a can of Coke, you've got a can of Cheerwine. I love Cheerwine, even though it's not good for me, so I haven't drank a lot of it much lately. You shake that can of soda pop. You shake it, you shake it, you shake it, you consolidate, you consolidate, you consolidate. Once the top comes off, what happens? An explosion. Now, that explosion in the marketplace could be to the upside, or that explosion could be to the downside. You'll see here, there was an area of consolidation, not as tight as this area here, but there was an area of consolidation, and the explosion went to the downside. This was a huge move downside. The market was down from high to low that day. The market was down 900 points, $900. And then it went down further, as low as 64. This was as high as 78. So between this explosion to the downside, all right, from the height of this candle to the depth of this lowest part of the candle was 1,400 points, $1,400. So if you were just holding on to Bitcoin, you saw your Bitcoin decrease in value by $1,400. Okay? Well, today, I think most of this happened like in an hour's time span. I was working on something totally different for our audience, and I just happened to go in and just check the charts, and I was like, whoa, where the heck did that come from? When did that happen? And you can see she rushed up through resistance. But look at this. Gosh, look at this. Look at this. This right here, this line here, is called a downtrend line. And what happens is, you can have multiple downtrend lines. What we do is we take the top of a wick here, all right, and then we connect it with a top of another wick, which would be right here. And this gives us a trajectory of where the markets may find areas of support and resistance, may have some consolidation is not the word I want to use, but congestion. There we go. Okay. All right. So what was important today, and we sent out the video earlier, we said, okay, she's sitting right at resistance. Notice how she peaked above resistance here, and then she dropped back down and she closed right here. What we said is, to see continued upward momentum, what we don't want to see is we don't want to see her fall below this line here. Because this now that it has broken this as resistance, we want to see this now hold up as support. We would prefer, if we want the market to go up, that she stay around here and maybe even push higher. But we definitely don't want to see her break this line. If she breaks this line, that would be another rejection, and that could signal more downside movement. Well, she closed. Look at the importance of these lines. She closed right at this downtrend line resistance. Who the heck is teaching that? Nobody but Digi Millionaires. Not that I've seen. She went above resistance, couldn't hold there, but she did at least close right here using this as support. This is about 5 o'clock New York time. And now you can see that she's trying to push above this level of resistance. And you can see here, earlier she was there as measured by the wick. But these lines become very important because they become areas of congestion. So right now, you've got a battle going on between the bulls that want to send the market higher and bears that want to send the market lower. So in order for us to see more upward momentum, what we're going to want to see is her close above this line. That doesn't mean that will give us a full buy signal, but that would certainly help. Now, where's the next area of congestion? Well, there's a little congestion right in here. I guess we could put a line here. Yeah, we could. You see right here? You see right here we got close. You see right in here, and you see right here. That's the $8,200 level. So we want her to stay above now, 78.55, 7,900, thereabout. And the next level of congestion going up, the next level of potential resistance is going to be at the $8,200 level. Well, where do we get that from? Because deja vu, previous periods of congestion. Right here, the market closed. Right there, went below this line, and you just saw, I just drew the line, right? All right, and all we did, and you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff, is we looked at periods of congestion. We see a close right there. We see the market struggling right here, trying to stay around here. We see a fall below. We see it come back above, all right? Then we see this serve as an intermediate support level for a couple of days. Remember, though, in the Bitcoin world, a couple of days might be like 2 months in the stock market world. So the fact that it only hit this 2 times is more meaningful in this space than if it only hit that 2 times in a couple of days in the stock market. This could be several weeks or months worth of stock market activity in terms of the amount of the moves, the number of points or the number of dollars that is up or down. Okay, let me stop right there. I want to show something else, and then we'll see if we can get into some marketing here. If what we've just covered, I'm not saying you understand everything, but if what we just covered was oh, okay, wow. If that made sense to you and you got that, put a G in your questions box. I got that. My gosh. We're getting this thing dialed in. We're getting this thing dialed in. Ain't nobody out there teaching what we're going to be teaching. And that's going to be huge for us from a marketing standpoint. Awesome. 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 Okay. All right. So let's show you some other cool things. Let me go to coinmarketcap.com. If we don't get to the marketing tonight, that's fine. Because whether you have an active Digi Millionaire membership or not, I want you to understand that the best way for you to become a Digi Millionaire, change the financial landscape for you and your family. I've never seen anything like what we're seeing in this Digi space. All right, so real quickly, before we get here, let's go back to our chart here. So here's the deal. Keep this in mind. 12 months, January 1 to December 31st, 2017. 8 of those months, Bitcoin outperformed, for the most part, the larger market, the altcoin space. Only 4 months did the altcoins, as a general rule, outperform Bitcoin. But in those 4 months that they outperformed Bitcoin, they well outperformed Bitcoin. to the point that at the year's end, Bitcoin was up 1,268%. Let's make sure we're all clear here. When you see these rates of return, if you were to put a decimal at the end of the last number and then move this decimal 2 points to the left, all right, this would tell you what your money would have grown by a factor of, so that you can get some sense of when we say 1,268%, what we're really saying is, had you invested and just held on, your money would have grown by a factor of 12.68 times. That's why we got to be in this space. 5 years, I was licensed in the mutual fund arena. The mutual fund that our company wanted us to sell averaged 18% a year for the previous 10 years. That means your money would have doubled roughly every 4 years. If you hadn't added anything to it, hadn't taken anything away from your deposit, in roughly 4 years, if you had $1,000, in about 4 years, it would have been $2,000. If you had $10,000 in about 4 years, it would have been $20,000. If you had $100 in about 4 years, it would have been $200. Look at this. If you had $1,000 in Bitcoin, January 1, held on to it December 31st, your $1,000 in Bitcoin would have grown by a factor of 12.68 times. You would have made $12,675. I simply rounded up to come to 1268.35. But it's not just Bitcoin. Ethereum, 8,600%. Yet, for a good part of the year, Bitcoin outperformed Ethereum. It's just that when Ethereum took off, she took off. And here's the thing. We don't get any warning signs. There's nothing major news-wise that I've seen that has caused today's action. There has been in the Muslim community, in some Muslim communities, there has been some talk that Bitcoin is an acceptable investment or vehicle for those who subscribe to Sharia law. Not even all Muslims subscribe to Sharia law, but there are obviously some that do in Islam. And so there is some talk that, hey, maybe that was a cause of the markets. Maybe it's just the fact that there's been a lot of pent up, I want to get in the market. As soon as the market starts to turn, maybe it's Wall Street. Maybe it's Wall Street. I can tell you right now, the stock market has been extremely volatile, far more volatile than what we typically see in the stock market. This is not a political statement. It's not a political statement for or against. But a lot of that volatility has come about because President Trump likes to tweet. Not for or against. It's not a political statement. All right? But the markets hate indecision. And so there have been times when there was a tweet in the morning that talked about tariffs, but then in the afternoon, there was maybe a softening of the stance where, and I've gotten back into trading in the stock market also, so I'm paying attention to all this stuff, and it could be that in the stock market, I follow some traders in the stock market that have a phenomenal track record, but the last 2 months that track record has been horrific because there's been a lot of volatility in the stock market. So we could be also seeing some money, some Wall Street money coming off the sidelines going into the crypto markets. I'm not saying that's the case, but we very well could be seeing that. And I've been saying all along in this bear market that Wall Street is definitely talking some of this down. So some of the stuff you might see in media that's talking down, this poo-pooing, the sky is falling, is coming, I promise you, from Wall Street. Why? Because over 70 hedge funds have been developed to come into this space. But they don't want to buy Bitcoin at 20,000. They much prefer to buy it at 6. They don't want to buy Ethereum at its highs of 1,200. But boy, if Ethereum gets under 400 like it did, that's cool. They don't even want to buy Ripple at $2.12 when Ripple was 0.6 of a penny. See, the reason I love this space, in my life, 47 years of living, this is the very first time that Main Street, Majoa Masuzi averages, that Main Street started to embrace a entire new marketplace before Wall Street. Wall Street is just starting to come to the dance. Ripple, 32,000%. Okay? So, let me just keep your vision stretched. Had you had the resources to park $1,000 in these 20 assets last year, 20 grand, would have been 1.294 million bucks. Some of you parked 20 grand in a combination of BitConnect, USI Tech, Control Finance, or what have you. All right, we can't go and get that money back. We've had plenty of time to lick our wounds. Now it's time to suck it up. Can't do nothing about that. I hate it for you. I hate it for me. Can't do nothing about it. It does not help anybody just to be sulking and licking our wounds. We've licked them long enough. It's time to get back in the game. All right, that was 20 grand. Don't have 20 grand. $100 into each of those assets. 2,000 would have been 129,000. Now, would the market have come down from those points? Yes, but if you're following what we teach about moving over to the sidelines when the hurricane is on its way, then that will greatly shield you from this downside action and allow you, when we initiate buy signals, to add to your Digi assets when the market's going down. And that over time could be worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions to you. All right, real quickly. All right, we are not going to get to the marketing part, but you're going to walk away saying, ah. And then those of you who come on the Trading Lab, since you're already on here, this would be a nice foundation for what we're going to do in the lab, because I expect us to at least be placing some orders, if not getting executed on some transactions in the lab. Okay, now, so here's the thing that's really exciting. Remember when you go to coinmarketcap.com, let's go and refresh again. When you go to coinmarketcap.com, if you were to click on the top left, give us a moment. All right, if you will click on the top left where it says cryptocurrencies, all right, it's going to bring up the top 100 currencies on one page in order of market cap. What's market cap? Circulating supply. How many of these assets, how many of these coins, how many of these tokens are in the marketplace times the current price? That gives you the market cap. But what I like about clicking onto the cryptocurrencies link here is it opens up the last 7-day percentage. What has this asset done up or down over the last 7 days? Bitcoin is up 15.4% over the last 7 days. However, you can see the majority of this has come about in the last trading day, in the last 24 hours. Now, what we have not seen, even when we had those few head fakes, okay, this was a head fake. This looked like, okay, maybe the market's trying to go somewhere, and then the next day it went down, and the next day it went down. Look, we can't count this yet because this is the start of a new candle at about 5 p.m. New York time. So we still have until that time tomorrow before we'll know exactly what this trading day did. This was today's trading day. All right. It's been a while since we've seen 1, 2, 3 trading days in a row that Bitcoin was up. We've got to go all the way back. We got to go all the way back to March 1st, where we recorded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this was still during a sell cycle, so this was a head fake, and you can see, look how important these lines are that we draw. There were 2 areas of resistance here. There were 2 areas of resistance here. This down trend line and this horizontal line up here. Never quite got up to the horizontal line once you zoom in on it, but it certainly kissed this level, all right, closed here that day. So it got up to resistance, didn't quite make it above there, and then the next day it rejected hard. We got to go back to March, almost a month and a half, to find 3 days in a row. We had 2 days here, we had 2 days here, we had 2 days here, but 3 days in a row that the market was up. But look at what's happening with the altcoins. Ethereum is up 27, almost 28% in the last 7 days. Let's look at a chart of Ethereum. I want you to see something with Ethereum. All right. Again, we drew lines of congestion that date back to other deja vu moments. And you can see here, Ethereum, this was today's trading. This is current. All right. You can see Ethereum was here the other day. This was on the 10th. Bounced off support. Then it closed yesterday above this resistance line. So that meant that unless she rejects, she's likely to want to go to deja vu. And you can see she closed above this resistance line. And you can see now she's dealing with some congestion at this resistance line. You see the wick? She poked above it ever so slightly. 2 areas of potential resistance, right here and right here. So before we got on the webinar, she was trading above this. She's come down below. Now, that doesn't mean that she's not going to eventually go back up. She may be taking a little breather. We've got a little tug of war going on between the bulls who want to push the markets up and the bears who want to push the market down. Okay, look at this. She's up 27% the last 7 days. A good part of that was today, all right, but she's had 2 very strong days in a row. And now we haven't seen this in a while where we're starting to see multiple Digi assets, altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin in a 7-day stretch. Ripple has outperformed Bitcoin. EOS has had a great few days. EOS was, click on EOS here. I think I have EOS on the chart here. There we go. Look at this. EOS, I haven't been following as much with the charts, but look. This was day before. This was yesterday, I'm sorry. This was yesterday. EOS was at a low of 590. She closed at 760. Positive development because she closed right above this resistance line. Had been support here, but when it broke down through, this became resistance. And then this was today's activity. And you can see she closed again above a resistance line. Now, I just plotted these lines because I haven't been following EOS on charts. I just did this today. I did this right before the webinar. And when you look at that, you look where she is right now. She poked above, and that line drew her back for support. We'll see if she'll continue to go up or if she'll have a breakthrough through support. However, if Bitcoin continues to move up, it's likely that EOS will do the same. So over the last 7 days, this is something we haven't seen in a while. Clearly, last 7 days, EOS is up 38%. Last 7 days, Cardano, which she was just, I mean, gosh, what was she? Look, she's up 23% today. She was at 14 cents the other day. She hung around 14 cents for a while. Still well off her highs. Here's another, NEO, up 36% last 7 days. IOTA, up 33% last 7 days. Bitcoin's up 15. All right, so I'm pointing out ones that's up, let's say, double the amount that Bitcoin is. That's in some of the top. VChain, up 35% in the top 20. Verge, up 61% in the last 7 days. Steam, up 87%, up 67% today. For those of you that are Digi Millionaires, you let your cell phone go before you let your Digi Millionaire membership. Huh?
Are you going to do a Q&A?
We'll see. Go and put your questions in. Well, we'll see if we can get to it.
901.
Okay, I got you. Don't let it go away, because as we start to integrate into NetQube, the pricing is not going to be what it is now. It's not going to, so this is the lowest you're ever going to get it, and keep it, okay? Remember, for those of you that are Digi Millionaires, before the integration into NetQube, you will maintain whatever your billing rate happens to be, whether you're on a monthly or an annual or what have you, okay? But once we integrate into NetQube, you will not get the Digi Millionaire membership any lower than it is right now, okay? This is why you go anywhere. You have no, look, 67%. I've got some steam. Yes, my steam was underwater, but my gosh, a 67% day, it's a really good day. All right, so now with that, I'll stop. And we'll talk about marketing a little bit more on next week. Queen, hit me with the questions. 51, my gosh. 45. Queen, I'm ready when you are with questions.
Okay, they start putting your questions in now. I feel like hearing you talk. Hearing the questions.
If I don't have any questions, then let's spend the rest of the time talking about some updates. All right, so we did our market overview. All right, so real quickly, Digi Millionaires. All right, so here's what we're doing. Digi Millionaires will undertake a complete overhaul, both on the front end and on the back end. Now, the functionality of the back end will stay the same, but a complete overhaul. We know we've got a message that's going to resonate with the larger market. We want to make sure that our look is congruent with our message. All right, so I was hoping that I was going to have a couple of mock-ups for you tonight on the front end. One thing that we have not done, and this is all on me, is we've never had a front of Digi Millionaires. By the way, we're going to drop the CRB part and just move towards Digi Millionaires. Okay, We're going to drop, of course, CRB was for Click, Rank, and Bank, and that's when we were originally promoting an offer called Divi Social. Divi never worked out. They ultimately did change their name and are reinventing themselves. So we're going to ultimately drop the CRB, and it's just going to be Digi Millionaires. Okay, it's just going to be Digi Millionaires. Now, what we've never had is we've never had a front end of the site. So if you went to digimillionaires.com, it's going to take you to the login. But there's nothing there. If someone wanted to go to digimillionaires.com, there was nothing there to say, well, who are we, what do we do, and what have you. So that's going to change. All right, that's going to change. What we're going to do is, I'm a video guy. I learn best by listening or viewing or both. I don't learn best by reading. So based on my style of taking in information and what has worked for me marketing-wise has been video. So there'll be some content, some written content on the site, but it will largely have video content. So here's what's going to happen. That will be replicated, all right, so that as we integrate into NetQube, you'll have a replicated site, digimillionaires.com. It may have another extension there since there'll be a NetQube tie there. But digimillionaires.com / your username. And folks will be able to register for Digi Millionaires right there on your site. And if they haven't seen anything else, there will be plenty of content. And what we've done is we've taken much of the content that we now share on our Tuesday night webinars, and we have broken that down into modules. So it's not like a full 1 hour or a full hour and a half. It's a 15-minute module here. I think one of the modules was like 17 minutes. So for instance, we break down if a person, because some people don't need a lot of information to make a decision to buy, join, what have you. Others need more content. I'm that guy that I want more content. I want to understand it as I undertake it. So I will always err on the side of giving more content. However, so that we can make it in bite-sized digestible pieces, we've taken the content that we share on a Tuesday night. Actually, we expand that because on the Digi Millionaire site, on the Tuesday night webinar, we're leading in with NetQube, and then we are on the back end talking about how to what's the word? I'm trying to remember the words that I always say on this one. Give me a moment. That birdie just flew off. Let's just say how to profit even when the markets are getting torched. Okay, we cover that on Tuesday night. We don't cover some other parts of Digi Millionaire. So what we'll do on the site is there will be no less than 3 separate training modules. There'll be a call to action under each where a person can just click get started, and they'll be taken now to the place where they can join you in Digi Millionaires, join you in NetQube. Now, be mindful that once we make the integration into NetQube, the way people have joined in the past is going to go away. Using Zaxa has served its purpose, but it is an impediment for people being able to market right away, because a person comes aboard, they got to go and watch a video on how to set up Zaxa and all that other stuff, and that makes it much more difficult from a marketing standpoint. Versus you join, you got a username, and you send someone your link that's got digimillionaires.com / your username. That's one of the reasons why we're integrating into NetQube. NetQube is going to cover all of the billing for the new folks. Our existing folks, you continue to be billed however you're being billed right now, but the new subscriptions is going to come through. NetQube is going to cover the billing. That'll make that easier because they've got a much bigger merchant account to work with. MasterCard, Visa, and what have you. People won't have to have a PayPal account. So it's going to make that much easier, okay? So we're working on that now. Also, obviously, we're working on a brand new follow-up series. Now, right now in your back office, we got to get rid of the crap that's back there from one of those scam sites that stole money from us. I've left that there just because I haven't taken the time to take it off, all right? But we're going to take that crap out. We're going to upload the new stuff, all right? And we're also going to really be looking and starting to learn the pocket funnel system. Carolina sent a ticket. She said, my gosh, the pocket funnel looks like something that you were trying to do with another platform. We call that platform a while back Raz. And for those of you who remember Raz, you know how high I was on the prospect of SMS text message marketing. The challenge we had with Raz was not, did it work? It worked. I'm telling you, it worked. The challenge was the developer, who I'm a fan of, I love the guy, got a hard head. And he may hear this, and this is nothing I did not tell him over and over and over and over again, okay? So if he hears this, I'm not talking bad about you behind your back. I'm talking bad about you the way I talk to you in front of your face or on the call. Not that I talk bad, but I said, dude, your head is hard. Why are you making it so hard, man? It costs too much for people to do the texting. It costs way too much. You got to change it. All right. Some of you know what I'm talking about. All right. So Pocket Funnel looks like it's going to be that system that's going to allow you to develop a SMS text message marketing list. Now, I will continue to build my email list, but I will tell you that as I learn more about Pocket Funnel, and I haven't taken the time yet to do a lot of that because I'm working on the other content, okay, we are going to roll a lot of content through Pocket Funnel. As a matter of fact, if you were on the Pocket Funnel webinar the other night, you got there late because we had our regular webinar, but I'd already reached out to Joel, sent him some of the promotional content that we're working on for Digi Millionaires, NetQube, Digi Millionaires. He got a chance to look at a little bit of it, and immediately, there's a connection there. He's real busy. I'm real busy. At some point, we'll connect all the dots. I'm going to be a Pocket Funnel master because I want to incorporate SMS text messaging into my marketing. Now, what we're going to do is we'll have a full slate of content you'll be able to choose, whether you send that out in an email list, whether you post that on social media, whether you send that out in a text message list. Now, I've got to find out how you do an autoresponder with the text messages. I don't know what the pricing is on the text messages. When you get Pocket Funnel, you get 300 text messages tied to your account on a monthly basis. I don't know what pricing is going to be thereafter, but I certainly don't expect it to be what it was with Raz. And again, I hammered the guy. Dude, he told me what it cost him for the actual text messages. And then what was being charged, though it was to do an income opportunity side of it, it was just too much for the average person, and the fact that you couldn't control the autoresponder messages. Some of you know what I'm talking about. As soon as you got somebody in your system, the system started sending them out message after message after message. It was costing you, and you had no controls. My thing was, even if you're going to charge what you're charging, give the folks the control, or they don't really control their list. And everything I've taught is you need to have a list that you own, that you control. If I can't control who gets the messages, or I can't control when the messages go out, if I have someone that I've got an autoresponder message going to and text messaging, and every text maybe eats away at my credits, and I'm not getting any response from this person, and so maybe I don't want a text message every day going out to them or every 2 days going out to them. I need to be able to turn that off. We couldn't do that with RAS. But it looks like we're going to be able to do that with Pocket Funnel, okay? We did get, let me show you just a couple of samples. We did get back a second video that we had done. All right, this is the one that we sent out about a week ago. And so this particular one, all right, and so we'll separate it inside so you'll know. This particular one, the message is both of them are a combo NetQube Digi Millionaire message. However, this message kind of leads in more with NetQube, Digi Millionaires on the back end, so that when someone ultimately opts in, and once we learn Pocket Funnel better, we'll likely have an opt-in where they could actually put a text message or a cell phone number, and hopefully once I connect with Joel, that'll go directly to your Pocket Funnel text messaging account. That's what we ultimately want to have happen. I think we'll be able to do that, okay? This one, and we'll separate it in the back office so you know, will be where when someone opts in, they're going to be taken to a training page. That training page is going to have 2 modules. It's the same 2 modules that the other one's going to have that I'll talk about in a moment. But the first of the 2 modules, I know, Queen, I'll finish it right here. The first of the 2 modules, thank you, is going to start with NetQube, and then the second module will end up with Digi Millionaires. The one that I sent out earlier today is a different video, but this one leads more in with Digi Millionaires on the front end and NetQube on the back end. Some people are going to want to promote the NetQube side first. Some people are going to want to promote the Digi Millionaire side first. Or you might connect with somebody on Facebook and you find out that they are into cryptos, even if they've lost some money in BitConnect or what have you. So you might lead in with the Digi Millionaire side. So what would happen with this one? Person opts in, the first module would be Digi Millionaires. The second module would be NetQube. It's the same content. It's the same content. I just swapped. One page leads in with NetQube, then Digi Millionaires. A separate page leads in with Digi Millionaires, then NetQube. I've got another video. I've got 2 more videos in production now, and I'll end with this. One of the videos, I just sent over the voiceover, and once the voiceover is done, then the graphic people will start on the graphics. That video is going to resonate with a lot of people because it targets USI Tech, BitConnect, Gladio Coin, and everybody that had the fallout from those systems. Meaning when BitConnect died, Devore Coin, Falcon Coin, all those things went away. All right. So that messaging is going to be aiming at the emotions and the heart of people who were either in USI Tech, BitConnect, or whatever the other one was, Gladio Coin. And we call them by name. We call them crooks. We do all that stuff. All right. In marketing, you want to appeal to people's emotions. If it doesn't cause an emotional response, it probably isn't good marketing. And all you need to do, whether you are for him or against him, is look at who is the president of the United States. He appealed to people's emotions. He's polarizing. Either you love him or either you detest him. But guess what? He is a master marketer. And so we should have that video sometime, probably the middle to the end part of next week once the graphic people get that one. And we've got another one that's also in production. So we will have plenty of content for capture pages, plenty of content for the Digi Millionaires website that is being overhauled, and then we'll also be overhauling the back office. We'll be cleaning up all the stuff that shouldn't be there, any references about Divi, any references about BitConnect, any references about anything that's not related to what we're currently talking about, that will be cleaned up. A lot of work, but it's worth it. We're dialed in. Love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together. Starting with yours. Let's get to the Digi. My gosh! Millionaire status. See you on the lab. Good night, everyone.